For the fourth year initially, 65% of our donors were international. When a child's guardian applies, if the child has a disability or an illness that requires significant funds, right, like an operation, we chose an online work format because we can reach the largest number of children this way.
Hello, everyone. The Volunteer for Volunteers is back. And today, well, you can see what beauty arrived from Odessa. Valeriia, co-founder of the charitable foundation Children of Heroes.
Exactly, hello.
Hello?
It's a pleasure. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today and speak about the foundation. I'm very grateful for this.
Well, let's begin right here. What kind of foundation is this? What exactly do you do?
The charitable foundation, Children of Heroes, works with children who have lost one or both parents as a result of the full-scale invasion, specifically since February 24th, 2022. Our foundation was established as a direct response to Russian aggression. In early March of 2022, we clearly understood that something urgently had to be done, and we chose children as the most vulnerable group, unable to protect themselves or obtain an education on their own. Children who are losing their parents. This child is absolutely exposed, completely vulnerable. She is experiencing a profound loss. She is living through wartime conditions. She doesn't know what to do next. That's why we decided to help this particular category of society. This was precisely against the backdrop of all the news about Mariupol, about Bucha, and so on. When we saw how many people were dying, we decided to help children specifically.
You're saying we saw there's a team?
Yes, there is a team. Initially, it was quite small. That is, it was a small group of like-minded individuals who, at the beginning of March, held their first Zoom meeting to understand what exactly to do, whom to assist, how to proceed, how to structure, and then scale this entire effort. Because we didn't understand it. We understood. We have the initiative. We have, our initial capital, because the main founder of our fund, he invested the first amount so that the fund could exist at all and could then help others. But we didn't understand. How do we even search for such children? We saw what was happening in Mariupol. We saw how people were evacuating, and during the evacuation, parents died and children were left alone. Initially, we didn't understand how to find these children. So we reached out to volunteers who were working in cities such as Zaporizhia, Kherson, and the Donetsk region, and inquired about children who had lost one or both of their parents. These were our first children from Bucha. I remember a family of 10 children, and they are still with our foundation. Their father was killed. He was just driving home from work in the Bucha district, Kyiv region, to his family. Civilian family.
Could you tell us a little bit about how exactly you help? You find contacts through volunteers. There's a child, and you can't say what you can offer them. How does your foundation provide help?
Sure, it's not through volunteers anymore. That scheme, it worked initially. Now, families themselves reach out to us through social media, through advertising, through simple word of mouth, because they talk about our foundation. So, if we go back to the beginning, who exactly are we helping? As it's now clear, these are children who have lost one or both parents, and mostly, these are the children of our servicemen. These are children whose fathers defended our country. This is 97% of our children in the foundation. There's also a certain percentage of civilian families. These are children who lost their mother or father or both parents, for example, during evacuation from occupied territories, during missile attacks, and so on. We also provide assistance to civilians. They are complete orphans, and they always have legal guardians. Our foundation, therefore, takes under its care children who already have official guardians. We don't handle adoptions because this is government work, state institutions do it. How do we help? Well, first of all, we have a very large scope. A very significant area is psychological support. Our foundation currently employs 28 psychologists, psychotherapists, and a psychiatrist too, who constantly provide daily assistance to children and their guardians, mostly mothers. Sometimes it's grandmothers, sometimes fathers. If there's no mother, there is a father, for example, in the family. So we offer psychological assistance to the family, the child, and the guardian upon their request. Naturally, we don't force anyone. This is done to help stabilize them, you know? A family, a child is experiencing loss. And sometimes, in fact, we understand that it's more important to stabilize the mother because the child's psychological state is directly reflected from the mother, from their own caregiver. This is the first direction. Psychological assistance, and also legal assistance. We have a dedicated legal firm which assists families in resolving matters concerning payments and any other questions that may arise on their path after the loss of one of their family members. All of this is humanitarian aid. We provide for families. Well, I believe for 3 years now, we have been providing everything from shoes, clothes, to heaters, firewood, laptops, of course, tablets, stationery, and so on. We have a warehouse in Kyiv from which large-scale packages are sent out weekly. We dispatch thousands of packages. Humanitarian aid, development, and socialization support. This is also a crucial aspect of our work because we want to raise children, despite their loss, sometimes despite their limited opportunities, and sometimes the family's dire circumstances. We want the child to feel morally secure at the very least, and to have the understanding that they can acquire a proper education, learn the English language, and engage in mathematics. This means we provide classes in English and mathematics, NMT preparation, exam preparation, and career guidance projects. We have many offerings for various age groups, and for children of different ages, we have our own programs. Educational focus. Also, socialization. We run many camps for children, mostly in Western Ukraine, in safe cities. Occasionally, we have projects abroad. Usually, it's limited camps. Mostly, we still operate in Western Ukraine. Last year, for example, over 2,000 children visited our camps. That's quite a large number, considering the organization required: documents, travel, accommodation, and so on. Mostly, these are psycho-rehabilitation camps. They can also be health-promoting and sometimes simply recreational, because we want children, despite all circumstances, despite the fact that they live in war every single day, we want them to still experience their best childhood, to simply feel like children, so they wouldn't hear the alarms, so they could make new friends, so they could play, and so they, could just feel this carefree state.
Do you have any representations in other cities? Or how exactly is coordination managed?
Yes, I'll tell you about the work now. Our representative office is only in Kyiv. We have a small office, but a quite large warehouse, because we send many parcels. We believe for now that there's no point in increasing our administrative expenses just for an office. In any case, we communicate remotely with our families. We have 50 individuals who are called family assistants. It is they who handle the coordination with each family in the fund. They are the ones who communicate, gather daily needs, some case management, if there are any medical or other cases that require assistance. Family assistants and I myself worked for more than 2 years. The first 2 years I worked as a family assistant, communicating directly with families, calling daily. How is your health? How are the children? What else do you need from us? How is the English you're currently working on? Do you wish to continue? Do you have any other specific requirements? We were constantly in close contact with these families. So, we have dedicated individuals who manage each family, recording all this information within a CRM system. And for every child, essentially, we maintain a detailed profile. This profile includes their first name, last name, and patronymic, then who they have lost, who their legal guardian is, what their specific needs are, any illnesses they might have, what grade level they are currently attending, received assistance and requirements.
There must have been instances where you provided complete assistance to a child, and they're, one might say, like a graduate now?
Yes, we already have 250 graduates. It's worth noting that the foundation already has 12,000 children who have lost one or both parents. And all these 12,000 children are our daily beneficiaries, our daily wards, receiving one form of assistance or another, one form of assistance or another. Well, there are families, some of whom don't really need much of anything. Let's say they only need their child to be studying English. They simply refuse any help from psychologists. They don't need humanitarian aid, for instance, food packages or clothing. They only receive English language course. And yet, our staff, our family support workers, call them periodically and say, "Look, this has become available," or "that has become available. Do you want to try it?" We also created a chatbot because we realized that the number of families has grown so much that we can't call every family every day or even communicate by text message. We've developed a chatbot so all our families can see daily what new updates are available, whether it's a camp in Western Ukraine, any educational project, or offline art therapy in a specific city. They can apply immediately. This has greatly simplified our work. It's all about communication. Regarding the question you asked about our communication, how we communicate with them, and how this whole process unfolds for us, how its structure is defined, that's it. It's also important to note that our mission is to support all children under the Foundation's care until they reach adulthood, which is 18 years old. And these children, whom we refer to as graduates, are precisely those who have turned 18. From that point on, they continue their journey without us, but we can provide them with support if requested. For example, if they request assistance with their education or for gaining admission to universities, which is something we also do, we provide help as we have certain partners. Then we continue to mentor such children until they are 19 years old. Essentially, our graduates are those who have reached the age of 18. And regardless of the age at which a child enrolls or registers with our foundation, for example, if a child is just 1 year old, we still commit to guiding this child until they reach 18 years of age, and to assist them with all the aid programs that currently exist and will be developed by our foundation. So we immediately set for ourselves such a long-term objective. Because we understand we don't want to be, like a spontaneous fund that just gave out one food package and then considered that we've helped. We want to comprehensively help and meet the diverse needs of children, as I've previously stated, from humanitarian aid and basic food provisions to educational opportunities and even professional guidance throughout their lives. There is also medical support, which I haven't spoken about yet. And we also have, for instance, case management. These are situations where a child, or rather, the child's guardian, reaches out. The child might have a disability or a serious illness that demands significant funds, like a major operation. We are raising funds specifically for these kinds of cases. Additionally, a certain number of children have medical insurance, which our fund has also covered. They use this insurance to book doctors for covered incidents, or simply utilize the policy for their medical needs.
So, my most important question regarding this is, where do you manage to find the resources?
Where's money, right?
And resources and money, because it is a very large volume.
Yes, we approached our goal and these areas of activity very ambitiously because it's truly comprehensive, covering various aspects of family and child life specifically. All right? We have many partners in Ukraine and abroad. I'd like to mention that our foundation is registered in Ukraine, the Netherlands, and America. We have our own supervisory boards in Ukraine, the Netherlands, and America, to which we report. We established and registered funds abroad, specifically to create more opportunities for attracting international partners. And in fact, at the beginning of 2024, 65% of our donors were, in particular, international ones. The remaining portion consisted of Ukrainian donors. It's typically businesses, banks, IT companies, and retailers who provide us with their support.
If possible, could you name some of those who are listening to us, if it's not a secret?
If we are speaking about the banking sector, then our very first donor and also a key partner was Pivdeni Bank, which has been providing us with support right from the start. And more recently, we had Credit Agricole Bank, which generously contributed a specific amount of funding towards our project involving the camps.
They can choose, right, what they are contributing to?
Yes, absolutely. The donor always chooses because, you see, they want either a specific project plus certain documentation, plus reporting on the assistance that they are providing. Of course, they choose either from the heart, I don't know, or perhaps they have an inner sense of what they'd like to fund psychological support or humanitarian efforts. If we talk about IT companies, it's EPAM. It's, oh God, my memory fails me. There are so many of them, actually. I was definitely in a cycle. Oh, I get it.
You name famous organizations. All are famous.
It's the biggest companies, I'm just afraid of not mentioning someone right now so they don't get offended later. Well, actually, we have a separate fundraising department that works constantly with all our donors and partners, who handles attracting them, reporting, the entire process, from raising funds to reporting and then approaching the partner again. And actually, the reporting process is the most important for us because, as I already said, we have a long-term perspective for our fund's development and existence. We want to attract partners for more than just a single occasion, so we must provide them with something, it's done beautifully and professionally, exactly how it should be.
Report.
To report, yes, to give a good, professional report in a way that builds trust for the future, This is precisely in our own best interest.
There's always a constant need for something. There's a certain area that constantly requires funds, and sometimes it's not enough. Are there such projects, or do you manage to cover them fully?
There's a constant shortage. Currently, there's a perpetual shortage of everything, and truly, donors are exhausted, and businesses that contribute find it difficult, and we understand this. And there are also other funds, specifically military ones, and we realize that, in fact, the needs of military funds are extremely crucial. We understand that donating to a drone is possibly more important for a potential donor to a drone, hypothetically, than, say, an educational program for our children or psychological consultations. Because,
as you said, everyone chooses what their heart desires.
Both by the heart's calling and by its urgency, we understand that if we don't win now, what will happen afterwards? For ordinary Ukrainians, for example, we very rarely hold successful fundraisers. They do happen. But we understand that the average Ukrainian will donate for drones, for military needs, for
contacts first.
Cars, for everything for the military. And that's normal, that's right. That's how it should be. We have to support our soldiers every single day. I do this myself every day. That is, I donate to those people I know who are organizing collections almost daily for military needs. Even though I work for a foundation and help children, and I consider that to be very important too, because this phrase, children are our future, has acquired new meanings. What we are doing for our children now, this is the guarantee of what we will receive later. This is the guarantee of what kind of society will grow up later, how they will be. To defend the country of Ukraine, how they will be representing her both within Ukraine and on the international stage. How will these children develop, and how will they perceive this world? That's why we are currently striving to instill knowledge in them, to psychologically stabilize them, and to assist with humanitarian aid or address their health-related concerns, so that a psychologically and physically healthy nation can grow, a nation that will also be well-educated.
Do you have a project that, you yourself invented, that you were the first to create, and you are truly proud of it?
I think what's truly most unique about us is essentially our operational structure with these dedicated family assistants. 50 individuals who are constantly in direct communication with the families. They, in fact, represent the primary psychological support for these families. I remember when I worked as a family assistant, many families often reject psychologists. They believe, in our mentality, if you hire a psychologist, then that's it. You've lost your mind and you're already a psycho, like it's not normal. But to communicate with me, of course, I somehow built trust in myself and the foundation because I called and asked questions. And with the mothers, with families, and sometimes with fathers who remained with children who had lost their mothers, trust was already established between us, and it was easier for them to open their hearts to me. For an hour or an hour and a half, we could talk, and even now sometimes we can talk if I call them, but they wouldn't agree to see psychologists. So I believe this project with family assistance is truly unique because this individual truly becomes a genuine friend to the entire family. It's not merely a representative from a foundation who just asks, "Hello, what do you need?" This is a person who genuinely establishes a profound psychological connection with the family.
Excuse me. Does this person have a relevant education or it's just this kind of people?
Not always. There are those who have specialized education, like sociology, and then there are those who simply followed their heart's calling, but they succeed.
How is the selection process? A person comes to you and
Yes, we have multiple stages in our selection process because the individual themselves must be in a stable psychological state. First, we have a selection with an HR manager who, based on specific credentials and certain competencies, evaluates. Then, a selection with the fund's founder, and then with a psychologist. And the psychologist determines through testing whether this person will be capable, firstly, of handling a very heavy workload, and secondly, of competently providing help and interacting with families who are not in a stable psychological state. That's why we have such a three-layered, one might say, structure for hiring people. Always with a psychologist who assesses the person's abilities, who wants to join the fund and work directly with affected families.
and how does communication happen? Is it a daily call or something like that?
With their families? Currently, it's not happening every single day because, as I've previously mentioned, we're talking about more than 12,000 children, which amounts to almost 9,000 families. All communication takes place through a chatbot or by making calls to the families, but not on a daily basis anymore.
I understand.
Yes, I wanted to mention something else. By the way, we've been on a first-name basis, though professionally it's more formal, but we agreed to be informal, like good friends. Are there any needs that constantly require money? Yes, for example, it's English. Every single month, nearly 2,000 children from our foundation are studying English. We pay for these services to various providers or schools that offer this kind of education, and this amounts to more than 1 million hryvnias, sometimes reaching up to 2. From 1.5 to 2 million hryvnias we need to have available every single month to cover the costs for such a large number of students.
Online or offline?
It's online, yes, because our children are located all throughout the country, in all cities, in every remote corner, in small towns and villages, and sometimes even abroad. Those who evacuated abroad but still wish to receive our help, for example, psychologists, English lessons, or some other courses, we provide them. We've chosen an online work format because this way we can reach the largest number of children. We understand that sometimes, for example, a consultation with a psychologist will be more effective. I don't even know how to say it. More successful. It's better to work with a psychologist in person? Yes, offline. But we currently don't have the means in every city and small town to provide psychologists for our families. So it's only in an online format.
Because English language instructors are watching us, we invite you to
Yes.
come.
Feel free to contact us. For example, as I said, about English. The same situation applies to psychologists, to psychological assistants, because there's a very large number of individual consultations that we provide each month to a child or guardian, and for this, we need to pay. These are needs that are constant for us. They are permanent.
And how's summer camp? I'm just curious, about camp. Well, in my childhood, it used to be like this. We'd go off for a couple of weeks somewhere. There were discos, various competitions, quiet time, and all sorts of things. How does it all happen now?
Well, things are happening almost the same way. I'm not entirely sure about the discos. I was at one of our camps. I visited it this September in Transcarpathia. There's a quiet hour. Younger children can sleep. There's a disco. They have certain activities in the evening. But the main focus was simply on psychological assistance, on the psychological rehabilitation of children. So a lot of time was dedicated to group consultations for children of various ages with psychologists. Psychologists worked there as counselors and as a form of support. So there was a counselor, now called a team lead, not like in our childhood. Today, a counselor is a team lead, and there were separate psychologists. For psychological rehabilitation, there was drawing, art therapy, and making things with their hands. So that was the direction. I don't remember the disco. I remember we had an evening where each squad, each team prepared a dance, and then we even gave out some awards. I remember we also gave out gifts from the foundation, but we gave gifts to everyone, though we did acknowledge that someone was better.
Classic student spring, as before.
Yeah, like student spring, student autumn, that kind of thing. The children really enjoy being at the camp. I saw them there. I saw how they made new friends, how they just walked around, how they enjoyed the peace, that there were no air raid alarms, that there's beautiful nature, because it's either the Carpathians or Transcarpathia.
Well, they adapt faster to society when they receive such rehabilitation? Can this be called rehabilitation?
Yes, this really is, you could say, the first stage of rehabilitation. In general, the fact that they are in contact with someone, because we have many children who arrive from the border regions. Yes, for instance, from Kherson, from the Kherson region, from Sumy, from the Kharkiv region. There, children generally don't go anywhere offline. Schools are online, there are no activities, clubs, or hobbies. They constantly sit either at home or in a bomb shelter. So, for them, just being in contact with other children is a huge wow. And this is such a crucial moment, a very important moment for their socialization and, well, psychological recovery, among the others.
And how do you get feedback? You see it yourselves that the child has become more open. Are there any questionnaires? This is a new topic for me. I've never worked with children. I work with either soldiers or refugees. I also have children, and there are children who are traumatized, but they didn't have a camp like this, nor did they have communication with psychologists who truly helped. Speaking for myself, I have a shelter, and when psychologists come to me, I look at them like, what's wrong with you? Before the war, you were a manager. Then you studied for 3 weeks somewhere, and then you came to help a child who had witnessed death. That's why I don't really have a high opinion of psychologists. I understand that you only take on true professionals.
Of course, professionals only. We are very thorough in selecting psychologists for the foundation, those who constantly work with children. Firstly, it's not just about being a psychologist, someone with a psychology degree. They must also meet a certain requirement: experience working with loss.
Specialty.
This is a distinct area of expertise. Psychologists who specialize in grief counseling, working with adults and children who have experienced loss. Therefore, the selection process is extremely rigorous and highly professional, specifically designed to choose the right candidates for our foundation. We don't just take anyone, and also those who work in camps. If we return to the topic of camps, of course, we cannot say that if a child went to a camp for 2 weeks, they've returned home already, mentally and psychologically recovered, having overcome their loss. Of course not. Of course not. We understand that. This is a very long journey, but the psychologists who work in the camps, we then receive certain conclusions. For example, that this child behaved aggressively there, or that this child needs further psychological consultations. And then we pass this information on to the family assistants, who then get in touch with the child's guardians and inform them. Look, at the camp, this is what happened, and it's recommended that you, for example, continue or begin sessions with a psychologist. But we cannot force anyone. The child's guardian makes the choice for them, whether they will participate or not.
If a person wants to offer help to your foundation or come on board as a specialist, can they reach out to you on social media?
Yes, we have a website, we have Instagram, we have Facebook. Everything is quite developed, and there's a large number of followers. We receive requests very often on any network, from those who want to join or want to work or want to be volunteers or want to donate, for example, or want to provide, let's say, 3 tablets for children, then it's possible.
And is there support from the pop music stars, as they say?
By the way, I personally oversee this particular area, and right now we are actively trying to attract ambassadors, official ambassadors for our fund. Over the past year, we successfully managed to officially bring in Andriy Bednyakov. He is now our official ambassador for the fund. He provides us with valuable informational support. He also came to visit the children at their camp, spending time with them. On his YouTube program, he highlighted the story of our child and came to visit her. And all of this was filmed, making it like a surprise. And our second star, a well-known blogger and a talented athlete, Marina Berzemska. She also actively supports us and serves as an official ambassador for the foundation. We've also had numerous collaborations with other celebrities on various projects. For instance, I arrange online meetings with these stars, where we invite children to join us on Zoom, along with a celebrity guest. I act as the host, giving children the chance to ask any question, to inquire. Sometimes kids ask very funny questions and the star answers. We've had guests like Dorofiva and Monatik. Famous singer, Aliona, football stars, Shavkovsky, the former goalkeeper. I think everyone knows him. Alexander Zinchenko, Dantes was there. Oh God, I can't list everyone now. Vasil Baidak also joined such a meeting. Artur Lagay, some other actors were present. So we do this in an offline format. No, an online format. Sorry. In an offline format, we have a project with 1+1 that's called Make a Dream Come True. And it's there that we gather the dreams of children who truly wish to meet a celebrity. And then we organize such a meeting for them. Recently, there was such a meeting with Dmytro Komarov, with Anna Trincher, and with Dorofiva as well in an offline format. The girl also had a chance to meet with Monatik, so he was present with us both in person and virtually. We are currently doing...
Like a surprise for them?
It's a surprise. Yes, I was just at the filming session because this was and is my mentee from the Odessa region, Anya Romashchuk, who is a full orphan. And she just casually mentioned during a conversation that she would really love to meet Anya Trincher, and that was all. And I'm like, we need to note that down. And then, sometimes it takes months of negotiations, both ours and even the 1+1 channel itself gets involved to organize such a meeting. We made the arrangements. She didn't know anything. We brought her in with her eyes closed. I just told her I'd come to Kiev and it would be a surprise for her. She's currently living with her brother from the Odessa region. Her older brother is her guardian because their parents are gone. And I told her we'd go for coffee and someone would join us. It was Nikita Dobrinin, who was actually interviewing her at first, getting acquainted with her. Initially, she didn't even understand who he was. Then, with her eyes completely closed, we led her into the hall where Anna Trincher was having a rehearsal. And actually, when we opened her eyes, Anna Trincher was singing personally for Anya. And there were tears in her eyes, and I had such indescribable emotions. Anya's crying, I'm crying, the whole film crew is crying. It's so touching. It's wonderful to see a child's dream come true, something she spoke of as completely unattainable. Oh, I really like Anya Trincher so much. I would really love to meet her someday. And here it's happening right before your eyes. It's truly wonderful. And to observe this very thing, it's such a great pleasure when you actually see that the children's dreams are coming true. It is precisely for this reason that we work and create projects like these. For instance, Make a Dream Come True, and we organize them in an online format with stars so that a child can truly feel that anything is possible in this life. They can meet their idol, ask them questions, or even hug them, even if it's a face-to-face meeting. We truly want children to keep dreaming and believing in their dreams, so they never stop. So no obstacles or circumstances would ever make them think that they won't achieve anything, that everything is unrealistic, because in their situation, my father died, and I don't have the financial means because we live in a small town. We really want children not to have these limitations in their minds. This is exactly what we are working on.
May I take this opportunity now that we've met? You are a representative of the fund. Danya lives in my shelter. His father was killed. He's from Mariupol.
If he's not yet under the fund's care, then
Can I submit an application for it myself? Or is it like a mother?
if he has it,
His mother stayed.
if it's the mother, then only the mother can submit the documents, because we accept them into the fund's guardianship upon presentation of specific documents. Documents for the child, documents for the guardian, passport details, documents for the deceased, the one the family lost. So, there's a specific procedure, and only the mother can do it. I'll just explain to you how to do it.
Thank you.
Yes, step by step for her to get it done.
Because we truly want to help him. He's a good boy, but he has psychological needs for treatment. Well, I'm saying it wrong. For treatment, I mean for support.
In support. Yes. Yes. On this occasion, I want to say that if someone watching us is from families where a child has lost one or both parents, you can contact our fund, childrenheroes.org. That is our website. You can submit an application there.
Link in description.
Yes, let's keep that. Perfect. Or write to us on Instagram, children.heroes, and there our managers will be able to provide you with all the necessary information.
We'll put all contacts in description.
Super.
Okay, let's talk a bit not about work. What did you do before? What is it that you are doing now?
I wasn't involved in charity work myself, but as just an ordinary Ukrainian, I donated to a fund here in Odessa. We have Corporation of Monsters, a fund known throughout the country, and all Odessans trust it. I remember selling some things on Instagram. I had a separate page where I collected donations. All of the proceeds went directly to this fund. That was the extent of my involvement with charity. But everything changed after February 24th. Prior to this, I worked as a marketing director in the restaurant and hotel business. After that, I became self-employed. I made the decision to launch my very own YouTube channel. This happened exactly 6 months before the full-scale invasion began.
Can we leave a link here for this channel?
Perhaps it still exists. There was also Russian language content there. Now, if I were to create a channel, it would be exclusively Ukrainian language content. So, of course, we can certainly leave it.
What kind of YouTube channel was it?
It was structured like a show interview, featuring a variety of individuals from diverse professional backgrounds, a cosmetologist, a sexologist, and a plastic surgeon. The episode that focused on investments was with a businessman. So that was essentially my main direction, conducting interviews with interesting people who could offer some valuable insights and benefits to the viewers.
Well, we will wait for the Ukrainian version.
I'm not thinking about that at all right now. People who supported and subscribed to me then are still asking me, when? When? And I just can't bring myself to think about it. At this moment, all my resources are directed towards the foundation and towards helping children and towards thoughts about how we can develop and further scale up. Perhaps someday I will return to YouTube, or already within the framework of working for the foundation, to do something useful, simply for a different audience. Yes, that's quite possible, but generally I have been officiating wedding ceremonies for more than 10 years. Yes.
So you and I are colleagues.
Well, you could certainly say that. I was involved in this even before the war, and I'm essentially still doing it now. It's just that there are fewer weddings these days, and I'm putting less into advertising. In fact, I'm not investing anything at all in advertising, to be honest. It's simply word of mouth, and it still works to this day. I keep receiving requests to officiate ceremonies. I always do it with such pleasure because, once again, it's such an enjoyable activity. It's more like my hobby. It's a pleasant activity because you get to see so many happy people. It's a very special day for them, and it's truly wonderful to make their day even more memorable. So it's really cool. It's such a fun, enjoyable hobby that I still have to this day.
Everything is fine if it just stays that way. Yes, we've talked about this and we've talked about that. All right, let's discuss our plans for the year 2025.
Oh, plans for the 25th year. I sometimes get completely confused. Is it already the 2025th year?
I also sometimes still write the 24th in my documents.
It's the same situation. This year, we want, speaking of the foundation, to dedicate our efforts to focusing on psychological activities and support for families. We currently have an active fundraiser for psychological support. And by the way, for the anniversary of the full-scale invasion, we are organizing a charity run. I just don't know when this podcast airs.
It's very unfortunate.
After this, but February 23rd already happened.
And it went really well.
And it was a great success. A charity run that we organized to collect donations specifically for the psychological support direction. Because, as you've already heard, this is our constant monthly spending of money, and we organize a run in Kiev, in Lisbon, in Porto, in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and there should even be one in Miami and in New York.
So there is a general name.
Children's Run. Children's Run 2025, I think. Yes, we have a separate landing page for this, where you can register, where you could register, make a donation, or leave a donation to run. So if you want to participate, you make a minimal donation and run. Or you can just donate and not run.
I like the second variant more.
I'm not a great runner myself. I would have done the exact same thing. So this is the kind of project we have. And by the way, Puma has joined us. Puma, as our sports partner, immediately made a donation for psychological support and also decided to support us with information for this charity run initiative.
That's awesome. You're starting year 25 right away with a run.
Oh, yes.
And will the camp be this year too?
Camps are always happening here.
But they...
All of the months.
Every month. There's nothing seasonal about it.
No, it's not just during the summer months. Right now, we also have camps available in the spring. We consistently run camps, sometimes even several different camps simultaneously. We have people who manage the camp programs, who administer them, gather children, and handle the whole organization. These are truly saintly people because there's a lot of work, and often, today we're going, tomorrow we're not. Oh, we didn't get the medical certificate. Oh, something didn't work out for us, and then something might happen during the camp. Yes, a child might break a finger or scratch themselves. Well, in short, this is a very large amount of work. I'm telling you, those who deal with this area are saints. Our camps are ongoing, and this is also a sub-program of our children's psychological rehabilitation. What else?
Let me just add something myself. You know, at the start of 2022, 2023, all decent Ukrainians who helped and were involved in volunteering felt a powerful urge to help, but now it's almost gone. Whoever I talk to, everyone is like,
Everyone's tired?
it's not that we're just tired. Perhaps it's more like disappointment. What's your feeling on this? Or are you still in a good state, as they say?
Sometimes it's very hard to find resources, especially since I have two kids of my own. I gave birth to my youngest child during the full-scale invasion. That's also an interesting story. There was quarantine, and I was like, no, later. I want a second child, but later. Then some work, projects. I kept saying later, later, later. Then the full-scale invasion begins. I tell myself, that's it. A perfect moment will not come. It's either now or never.
Sorry, but you understand what I mean.
Well, what is there to lose? If you want it, you simply must do it. And so you still need to find resources for your own children too. Sometimes I noticed I started spending more time and investing more resources into work than into my own children. You can't do that either. There still has to be a balance. Where do you find the resources to stay in such a state, to want to help? I don't know. I think it just comes from, I don't know where it actually comes from. It's just your choice. Like the choice of what kind of person you want to be. I believe that no one is born a bad person or a good one. It's your daily choice. Not even a daily one, but a minute-by-minute choice of what person you will be. I simply wake up every single day with the thought that today I choose to be a kind, good, and truly worthy person who genuinely wants to be helpful and useful to other people, who wants to offer assistance, who wants to never lose their passion and inspiration, and to give at least one person today to offer them hope or some kind of practical, physical help, so to speak. So, I consider this to be a daily decision that you make. You simply need to think about it, perhaps, to maintain your energy. And I wish for everyone to find such a resource and such correct thoughts that will keep you in this state, the state of understanding that you need to do something yourself, not relying on the state, on the government, or on anyone else. You are that one individual. Yes, you are just a drop in the ocean, but you can still accomplish something meaningful today, and that's all there is to it.
Thank you so much. It was a very pleasant conversation. May everything go well for you. We will definitely stay in touch, because I also want to help our children through you. So I wish you all the very best in 2025. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the interview. You are awesome.
Thanks. Same to you.